there, and welcome to the latest episode of the Sperrins Podcast. I'm Rella Fife, your host, part of the Save Our Sperrins campaign team, and we're just a group of ordinary folk doing what we can to protect this beautiful place we call home from gold mining. In this podcast, I'll be sharing what's really going on, hearing from people on the ground, and keeping the story alive because it matters. Thanks very much for joining me. Save Our Sperrins podcast special. What happened at the public inquiry? An overview of how it started, how it unfolded, and how it all came undone. Welcome to this special episode of the Sperrins Podcast. I had intended to bring you daily updates from the public inquiry, but things didn't go quite to plan. As many of you now know, the inquiry collapsed, only a few days after it began. Since then, I've had time to reflect, gather notes, speak with others who were there. This episode is my way of capturing what happened, start to finish, so that it's on record and we don't forget. This is a story of a process that was supposed to uphold democracy and accountability, but instead exposed deep flaws in how our planning system works. Day 1, what was supposed to be a public inquiry. From the beginning, things felt off. Day 1 of the inquiry took place in the Strual Arts Centre in Omagh. It was supposed to be a public inquiry, yet there were significant limitations on access and technology. Members of the public, campaigners, and even some press struggled to get inside. The day's biggest takeaway was the dysfunction of government departments. The Department for the Economy didn't even bother sending a representative, though at least one employee was sitting in the audience and said nothing when questioned by the Commissioner. The Department for Infrastructure, DFI, fared no better. Their response to basic procedural questions showed a lack of preparation, urgency, or understanding. Important concerns were raised by Fermanagh and Omagh District Council's legal team, Save Our Sperrins, and local residents. Some points. There was no updated economic feasibility study since the supposed removal of cyanide from the application. The Derry City and Strabane District Council judicial review had not been adequately addressed. The precautionary principle and cumulative impact of mineral exploration had been overlooked. Dalradian had worked on an unauthorised site, breaching planning permissions. People came expecting answers. Instead, we got obfuscation. Day 2, the day it unravelled. Day 2 should have been about expert testimony and public engagement. Instead, it turned into a legal and procedural quagmire. Dr. Amy Strecker spoke on behalf of Save Our Sperrins about the project's failings under human rights law and the Aarhus Convention. Her testimony was powerful, raising issues of transparency, justice, and the public's right to be heard. Support also came from across the border. Residents of Donegal travelled to speak about transboundary impacts. This, it turned out, was the fatal thread that would unravel the whole process. The DFI admitted to technical breaches in their legal duty to consult properly with Donegal County Council. They had posted documents online, but made them hard to find and failed to provide clear planning references. The consultation process was deeply flawed. The Commissioner pressed DFI's barrister. Did these failures represent an impediment to the inquiry continuing? The answer, it depends. The department hadn't even decided what to do yet. That indecision and the legal implications of their failure to consult properly across the border sent the entire process into limbo. Meanwhile, Dalradian made some truly jaw-dropping claims that gold is fundamentally a benign product, that mining and quarrying are essentially the same thing, and perhaps most damning of all, their agent said, if mining and quarrying were subject to this policy, it would never be permitted. That one statement said everything. Date 3, collapse. By Wednesday morning it was over. The Commissioner asked for clarity. The departments couldn't provide it. The legal basis of the inquiry had been undermined by procedural failings so severe that continuing would have rendered the process illegitimate. What was supposed to be a 3-month democratic forum collapsed under the weight of its own mishandling. Government departments out of their depth, legal processes not followed, and a planning system ill-equipped to deal with public scrutiny. What does it all mean? The collapse of the public inquiry isn't just a technical issue. It's a damning indictment of how decisions are made in this country. If the departments responsible for managing a major infrastructure and environmental case can't follow their own legal duties, how can we trust them to protect our land, water, and communities? It also shows just how powerful community voices can be. Save our Sperrins, local residents, cross-border allies, and legal teams were ready, informed and compelling. That pressure worked. The cracks were already there, but our collective scrutiny brought them to the surface. What happens now? The future is uncertain, but here's what we do know. This application cannot be rubber-stamped. The legal failings are now on record. Communities have shown they are not passive. We're watching and we're organised. Any future attempt to revive or repackage this project will be met with the same scrutiny and resistance. Final thoughts. This podcast episode is a record of what happened for those who couldn't be there, for future campaigners, and for anyone who wants to understand how power operates behind closed doors. This is for you. We may not have had the full inquiry, but we do have each other, and we have the truth. Thank you for listening. Please share this episode, talk about it, and stay connected. We'll see you again soon.